Today I have a review of something special from ThruNite, a flashlight that has a giggle factor really for anyone. It's the ThruNite TN42 V2, and it's a mighty searchlight featuring 4 21700 batteries, an SBT 90 LED that produces an impressive 4048 lumens. Thanks to ThruNite for sending this out to me to review. One hell of a light. Before I get to that teaser of how the performance is on this, make sure you're subscribed to me here on YouTube and on other social media platforms. YouTube's telling me that very few of you that watch these videos are actually subscribed. So make sure you do subscribe so you will catch good deals that I share and future reviews. Here are my teaser shots for the ThruNite TN42 V2. And you can see it easily throws to the end of my neighbor's fence and across the street, no problem. And this is under 100 lumens. Stepping up to medium here, blows out my fence, easily lights up the neighbor's yard. You can see the tight beam, but it's still got that spill. And here is high. This is about 1800 lumens if I remember right from memory. And yeah, you can see that little bit of bright hot spot around the tree, maybe just a little bit of a ring there. Does a nice job though. For the full power turbo, you're gonna have to keep watching this review and see my runtime section. This just isn't enough distance to show that. And I went out to a lake to see what it can really do, and it's pretty impressive. So make sure you skip ahead to watch that via the chapters or watch the entire review. So the box is just too big to fit in frame here, so I'll insert a picture of what that looks like, but it's your standard ThruNite brown cardboard box with pretty much no information on the exterior. You do get a few accessories with the light itself. You do get this charger here. The light does charge via USB-C. And you get this wall charger here for AC in the US adapters. It's fairly lightweight, but has kind of a neat texture to it. I'll talk more about that later. You get a bag of extras here that has a spare button, a little split ring, a couple extra O-rings, a charging cap as well. Nice to always have those. You get a warranty extension card. You get a business card telling you to subscribe to their YouTube channel and how to extend the warranty. If you email them with your order ID, they'll send you a free small light as well. You get a manual here, just a one-page deal, and I'll put a copy of that here in the video so you can take a look at it quick. You get a shoulder strap here, and I'll talk more about this in the retention section. And you get the beast of the light itself with 4 21700 batteries already pre-installed. So let's talk about the construction here. The light is made from aluminum and is hard anodized in a smooth semi-gloss black finish. Fit and finish here is great. No problems that I've seen. Everything is nicely chamfered and anodized, really no issues. The tail cap here has 3 winglets and each has 2 holes in it. You can use this to attach your lanyard by clipping it to the side or using that split keyring that it comes with. And this is just the right size for some paracord to slip through with a little bit of effort, which is great. And it does tail stand, no issue. The tail cap here is a 2-piece design, but it does not come loose from the body tube itself. They must be glued internally, which is fine. Your body tube itself has square blocks milled into it. These provide a decent amount of grip. They're not extremely grippy, but they're not under grippy either. They work fine. The fit and finish here is quite good. The light is hard to unscrew, and that's just because of the sheer size of it. It's a very good seal. It takes a little bit to get started. Once you get past that first O-ring, then it starts to come off even easier. Here are those 4 batteries that I was talking about here. The light will run off any combination of all 4 or just one, which is nice. They do have a carrier that you can see here. It keeps the cells from rattling around. And they are sprung, so they fit nice. You do have square cut threads in here and a large O-ring, as I mentioned, and everything is nicely greased. While I've got the light apart, since it is kind of difficult, inside here you've got one main brass contact ring here where it'll make contact. That means your batteries, while these are proprietary, where they have the positive and the negative on one side, they are totally unnecessary with this light. What's making contact is that positive button top cell. So you can run any long 21700 that is long enough with this light, which is fantastic. On the exterior of the head here, you've got your button, which is standard for ThruNite pretty much. It does have an LED in the center there that is a battery indicator, both for charging, discharging, and for battery life. You've got a little bit of milling here on the sides for heat dissipation and style. On the back here, you do have that silicone cover that covers your USB-C port for charging, and it's fine. It folds flat and stays out of the way. The light is IPX8 water rated. Up here, you've got the spot for the shoulder strap, and I'll show you how that fits in retention here in a minute. And then the bell of the light really opens up big, and this is what allows that deep reflector to really give this light its mega performance. You've got a little bit of minimal marking here. ThruNite the model number. On the back, you've got the ROHS marking, the serial number, and all the other stuff. The bezel is very, very lightly crenulated and does stand off from the glass just a bit. It is a very, very large lens. Here is a baseball that you might be able to see on there, but you can see this is significantly larger than a baseball. I've got a picture of a 50 cal round sitting on top of it as well. Here is a basic 123 block, and we can see that it covers the entire lens, so the lens is more than 3 inches in diameter. It is a anti-reflective coated piece of glass, a very smooth reflector, and in the center there you see that SBT 90.2 LED, which is a pretty special LED. This is a big boy light. It is not the longest I own, but it does have the largest reflector and front diameter. Length I measured here was 191 millimeters. Diameter of the body is at 60 millimeters. Maximum diameter of the head is 104 millimeters or 4.1 inches. So it makes a baseball or 50 BMG look pretty small when placed on the front of the reflector. Weight with the batteries installed came in at 959 grams or 2.1 pounds. Weight without the batteries was 646 grams, and the light is IPX8 water rated, and it's really too big to fit into my sink to test that. I'll do a little bit of comparison with other lights here. I've got the Astrolux FT03S, which uses 126/650 battery, also runs that SBT 90 LED, so that's a good light to compare it to size-wise, and a few others here. For retention, the light does have a few options here, as I showed before. At the rear, you've got a few options. You do have the ability to attach paracord here, which is, I think, what I'm gonna do. This light does not come with a wrist strap, and it's big enough that I think I want one, which I'm not a big wrist strap person, but I just want one here. So I think I'll attach one and just have it for a little bit of extra security. But you've also got this wrist strap that it comes with. I wanted to speak about the front mount because it's a little bit unique. Here is that. It's a kind of a clip for a binder, and you just put it in place here, squeeze it, and it fits. And that's how it suspends the front of the light. It doesn't really move a whole lot, so it won't scratch the front of the light, and it won't get in the way of the button, which is nice, and it feels fairly secure. For the rear, you just use this claw mount, and you can easily put it in. I'll probably put it in from the back side like that. And that way then you have your shoulder strap, and it's plenty long here for people of many different size bodies to sling this thing over a shoulder and carry the weight easily. The TN42 V2 is using the Lumens SBT 90.2 LED in 5700 Kelvin with a CRI of 70. This LED is a 3-volt LED on a single die with a large physical size, as you can see there. It combines high output with high lumens, which makes for a very high output and far throwing flashlight, and the TN42 V2, that's exactly what you get. The beam profile here is quite a small hotspot. At short ranges, you do get a little bit of a donut you can probably see here, and I can see that when I'm out even maybe to a couple hundred yards, but further than that, it really pretty good. The brighter you get, the less you see of that. That's due to this little bit of corona that you see here, bright in the center, and just a little bit less bright in the outside before you get to the mega spill of the light. It's a really good combination of searchlight with a hot center that really travels and goes the distance. In this particular light, it's rated for 1,860 meters. It's 864,000 candela, and those end up working out great here. But you also get a little bit of spill, which you don't get with other focus-driven thrower lights like the Leaps that I've tested and will test here soon. So official output specs are turbos 4,848 lumens, stepping down to 1737. High is 1,863 lumens, medium is 425, low is 80, Firefly is 1, and strobe is 4,000 lumens. PWM-wise, my scope really didn't detect any, camera didn't detect any, and neither did my eye. So it's a pretty constant current light, which is great to see and what you'd expect. Okay, here are my night shots for the ThruNite TN42 V2. This is running that SBT 90.2 LED in cool white. This is currently on the 1 lumen mode, and yeah, it's 1 lumen even with a flashlight this big you can't really see. If I bump up to low, we get 80 lumens. Here is medium, 425 lumens. We can kind of start to see the dock, no problem. This is really a thrower. You can see that beam, and I'm at a lake here, and it's everything that I'm looking at is really further away. There's a canoer. Here is high, 1,063 lumens. We can start to see pretty good here, and we can start to see here's a canoer that is canoeing. He's probably pissed at me. And here's the full beams, 4,848 lumens. We can see that bank across the lake pretty well. That is about 550 meters away. This light's producing 8,064 candela at the moment, and they say it's good for 1,860 meters. At this distance, you really can't tell the donut shape of the beam, but at shorter ranges, a couple hundred yards, you can see that pretty well. Again, super bright, high intensity, It is getting hot to the hand. It'll run at this intensity for about 2 minutes here. We actually see 2 canoers here, pretty neat. Don't normally get to see those guys without this type of light. We've also, looks like, got a biker or something across the way in the dam there. Easy to point out. And at this point, this light's getting pretty damn hot to hold. So I think I will shut it off and grab another for comparison. So here's my Astrolux FT03S. This is running the same LED. I will bump it up to high. It's rated for 4,500 lumens, about 1,428 meters. So a little less throw and a little less intensity. It's quite a bit smaller, and you can see the beam isn't nearly as focused. So let's look at these two side by side. So here is the Astrolux, and here is the ThruNite TN42. You can see the ThruNite's beam is just way more focused and seems more intense. On the left is the ThruNite, on the right is the Astrolux FT03S. ThruNite lists the turbo output here of 4,848 lumens as lasting for 125 seconds before stepping down. And in my test, it lasted for 120 seconds before really starting to ramp down. So pretty close to what they say. At 145 seconds, it was down to its steady 40% relative output, an estimated 1,737 lumens. It maintains this for 2 hours and 30 minutes before declining further down to Firefly mode over the next 30 minutes. It'll run in Firefly for another 2 hours and 20 minutes until low voltage protection kicks in at 2.89 volts. Total runtime from turbo to low voltage protection was 5 hours 16 minutes. FL1 was more like 2 hours 42 minutes. I saw maximum heat at 2 places during the runtimes here, first at 51C at the 2 minute and 20 second mark, and then again at the end of the output, the 2 hour and 30 minute mark. I'll throw up another graph here of the relative outputs comparing 4 batteries to 1 battery, so you can see the runtime differences. You definitely get a lot more runtime with all 4 batteries, which makes sense. Realize that in this graph here, the outputs are not identical, but they're similar. You do get a bit more output on all 4 batteries. The UI here is simple and the same as many other ThruNites. From off, you can long press and you will go into Firefly, as you can see there. When on and low, then you can press and hold and the light will cycle through the 3 different brightness modes, low, medium, and high. You can't really see low very well on video. Once on already, you can long press to go up a mode, double press at any time to go to turbo, and triple press to go to strobe. Really, that's it. There's nothing more to the UI. There is not a lockout mode here, so mechanical lockout is encouraged when carrying the light and storing it. The TN42 V2 uses 4,000 milliamp hour 2100 size batteries in a parallel connection. While the batteries that are provided here are proprietary, they've got that negative and positive all on the top end of the battery. That isn't actually used in this application. The only thing that's being used is the positive part of the cell and the traditional negative on the bottom. And that's great. And that means any cell that's long enough with a button top should fit on this light and work just fine. You don't need the proprietary batteries. And because the batteries are in that parallel connection, that means you can run the light off 1 battery, 2 batteries, 3, or all 4, which is what I'll leave it in. And because that's a parallel performance, you should marry the cells on this light and keep them with the light. Here's the included AC to USB-C charger, and it's nice they include this since not everybody has a high output USB-C charger, although most people should. It's a very lightweight charger, and I have to question the quality just a little bit because of that. I've got other chargers and they're all heavier than this, and they're all from more reputable brands. So while I had no issues here, this is a little bit generic. It says it can output 5 volts and 5 amps DC, which I question that a little bit. The light doesn't use that much power, so I never got to really test it. I tested it with both this charger and a 45 watt Aki charger with no issues and the same charging time out of both. Charging from low voltage protection at 2.89 volts to full at 4.18 volts. All it took was 8 hours to charge all 4 batteries from empty to full. And that's what I'd expect to see here. That means charging speed across all 4 batteries is fairly conservative, but that's to be expected. The light will charge via USB-C to C or USB-C PD, which is great to see, and the light will work when charging in Firefly or low modes. The center button here does have an LED, as I've explained before, and that will work as a battery level indicator when you're using the light, and then when you're charging, it'll also tell you what the charging status is. For more information on that, make sure you check the manual. So the pros for me are here the giggle factor. It uses a standard battery That's a button top, and those work great. And you just get a massive amount of light that throws at a very long distance. It's a very usable beam with quite a bit of spill too. You can use this around the house, don't get me wrong. It will, if you point it up at the ceiling, it will literally light up the entire room, and you can do that on high or medium pretty easily. But this is really a light that gets the best performance outdoors. So the cons are, it's a very, very large light. It's the heaviest light I have, and probably the largest in diameter in terms of the head, not the longest though. It's pretty expensive. You do get a lot of performance here though, and I'd like to see a small bag included to help protect the light when not in use and for storage. Like I said, it's quite large and I don't want to damage it if I'm carrying it in another bag, so something dedicated would be nice. So my conclusion is the ThruNite TN42 V2 here has the giggle factor, both in terms of performance and size. It really creates a massive amount of light with both the spill and the long distance of the throw. No other LED light I have comes close. The two Leap lights I have a more focused beam, but nowhere near the number of lumens. And I have other high lumen flashlights that create a ton of flood, but nowhere near the distance and throw of this. My blue Astrolux FT03S, which has the same LED as the TN42, doesn't have nearly the throw or the focus here. So the reflector design is key to this LED, and you've got to have the horsepower to run it. While the TN42 V2 is big, it really is the best optimized SBT 90.2 light I have seen, and it gets solid life out of those four 21700 batteries. It's impressive to both flashaholics and civilians. While out scouting locations to do my night shots, I had people come from the other side of the lake that I was at to check this thing out because they couldn't believe it was a handheld light. The TN42 V2 isn't going to be for everyone due to its size and price, but if your budget allows, you won't regret the purchase here. The light definitely would be useful as a searchlight if you have a lot of land, need to spot animal threats, or for search and rescue tasks, or just for fun. I can definitely recommend it. ThruNite is running a coupon till the 18th of the month to save about $80–90 off the cost of this light. No coupon code is needed, so make sure you check out the Amazon page, which I'll link below in the description. If you're interested, it's really the best time to pick up this light. As always, guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them, and I'd love to know if the TN42 V2 is going to be on your wish list this year. Let me know what you think. And as always, thanks for watching.